Welcome to our class, Maths and Physics class. Here we teach Maths and Physics in depth. We are here to conclude the topic that has to do with fundamental and derived quantities and units. We have studied the fundamental and derived quantities. Today we are going to be taking fundamental and derived units. So if we understand the last class that has to do with fundamental and derived quantities, the understanding of fundamental and derived units will be very simple. What are units? Let us start from there. Units are those things we attach to the numerical value of any calculations that we have made or any fundamental measurement that we have taken. Take for instance, if I measure the length of this rectangle and I have it and I say 5 and I write here 3, this does not make sense. If I ask what is the length of this rectangle, you say 5. 5 what? Is it 5 goats or 5 cow? But as at the time you say 5 centimeters, it makes sense because it means that the measurement you have gotten here, there is a unit attached to it, meaning you measured in unit, not in inches, not in meter, not in kilometers. It is in what? Centimeter. So if you tell me tomorrow, say, go and draw that rectangle, let the length be 5 centimeters, I will know where to put my ruler, where to mark, and where to get the end of that length, 5 centimeters. But if you just say 5, it will confuse me because I will not know if you are talking about 5 kilometers or 5 meters or 5 millimeters or 5 centimeters. The same thing goes for the breadth. If you just write 3, it will be confusing because you will not know what unit you are using. So that thing that you attach to the back of the numerical value of any measurement that you made is called the units. That is the units. In science, we call it the SI units. SI actually stands for International Standard. Because whatever I measure as 5 centimeters here should also be the same 5 centimeters in America, in the UK, in Germany, in wherever. That is what makes it SI units or International Standard units. So, when we are measuring or we get any value, we must attach the units. Okay, we said the other time that examples of fundamental quantities. Examples that we gave is what? Length. So you ask yourself, what is the unit of length? If I measure a length, I just said just now that if you measure length, you must attach the units. The SI unit of length is meters. And normally we write that as m at the end of the numerical value of any measurement of length. We also said the other time we have what? Time. The time, what is the SI unit for time? Seconds. The symbol for that is what? X. So the examples you have given, we have length. The SI unit of length is meters. The symbol is m. The SI unit of time is seconds. The symbol is x. So if, for instance, you ask me and say, what time did it take from this vehicle to move from point A to point B? I will tell you 18 seconds. I will not just say 18, I will say 18 seconds because the vehicle will move from point A to B using time, and that time is 18. But what about the unit? Is seconds. If it is not in seconds, I want to, it gets to minutes, 18 minutes. If it is not in minutes and it gets to hour, 18 hours. So these are all units attached to a numerical value when it is measured. So any unit that is attached to a fundamental quantity, please take note of this. Any unit that is attached to a fundamental quantity is a fundamental unit. Any unit that is attached to a fundamental quantity is a fundamental unit. So fundamental unit is any unit that is attached to a fundamental quantity. So in other words, any unit that is attached to a derived quantity becomes a derived unit. I will repeat that again. Any unit that is attached to a derived quantity is a derived unit. What were the examples we gave last class? What were the examples of derived quantities? Look at derived quantities. Derived quantities, we gave examples as what? 1. Volume. What is the SI unit of volume? The SI unit of volume is what? Meter cube. So this meter cube becomes a derived unit. A derived unit. Volume has this as a derived unit, meter cube. What about area? The SI unit of area is what? Meter square. So this one now, meter square becomes the derived unit of area. So meter square is a derived unit. Which other one do we have? We have force. Force has Newton as its SI unit. So Newton becomes a derived unit. So you can see the trend. Any unit that is attached to a derived quantity becomes a derived unit. Any unit that is attached to a fundamental quantity becomes a fundamental unit. So if I calculate the volume of a cone and I'm having 15, if I add meter cube, this meter cube becomes derived unit. So that is why meter cube is a derived unit. So if you are asked to give a sample of a derived unit, one example is meter cube, meter square, Newton. These are examples of derived quantities. Then when you talk about derived means fundamental quantity, you have meter, you have seconds. These are examples of fundamental quantities. So I hope we understand what we have just said. In summary of it is that fundamental quantities are quantities that are directly measured using a samples instrument like ruler, tape, stopwatch, stop clock. Then derived quantities are quantities that we use the fundamental quantity to calculate and get. Once you use the fundamental quantities to make calculations, whatever you get becomes the derived quantities. Then fundamental units are the units that are attached to the fundamental quantities that you measured directly. While derived units are the units that are attached to the calculations you made, the value, the answer that you got. The units that are attached to the answers you got from calculating using fundamental quantities, those units are called derived units. I hope you understand what we have just explained. Please like and comment under our videos, like our pages, go to our TikTok, follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channels. Do not forget to share these videos as you watch them so that others as well will enjoy and benefit from what we are doing here. This will also encourage us, and it will also make you to get these videos whenever we upload them, whether in our Facebook pages or our TikTok or our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. See you in our next class.